protesters still didn't really know what was going on, and everything was still new to us. But we knew that there had been some serious school shooting, and it was involving really young children. Inevitably, find out it was a Sandy Hook shooting. Um, so that was just one of the 10 school shootings that took place last year in 2012. 3 out of those 10 shootings involved suicide that took place on campus. There was a total of 41 people that were killed last year, and over 13 were just wounded from all the shootings that took place. The Sandy Hook one was obviously the most severe one, with over 20 people were injured and killed, and most of those people, unfortunately, were very young children. So already in 2013, and just in the month of January, there have been 8 shootings worldwide. So as you can see, this is a very serious issue that needs to be somehow taken under control. But of course, everyone wants to know, why does this thing happen? We always assume that it's these psychological issues, these people are just crazy. But really, as research continues to show, is that it starts back in history. And one of the things that I found in my research is that the Cultural Revolution kind of showed similar themes to why some of these shootings happen in today's day. So the Cultural Revolution was in the late 60s to the early 70s, which involved early teens to late teenage years, and these kids just wanted to rebel. They had family issues, they just wanted to do anything that their parents didn't want them to do, and they just wanted to get away from the norm. And a lot of times, this led to shootings, led to suicide, and just being reckless. But so along with that, other reasons why we have these issues with the school shootings is because lack of safety in schools. There aren't enough trained security throughout the school system. There's way too much easy access on the campuses, and there are a lack of security systems. And one way that I think that this can be taken under control is if we get better educated guards on campus, and we educate the teachers, the students, and everyone else better so we can avoid this. And the way that I think this would be most effective is if there are allowed to be armed guards onto school campuses. So it needs to be done. So there was, after the Sandy Hook shooting, there was one mother in Chicago that paid $12,000 for an armed guard to be on campus at her child's school for 2 months. So this was, I think, $32 an hour for these 2 months. And already they showed that the kids felt safer, the parents felt more at ease by sending their children to school, and all around it was just a better environment. Now, if these armed guards were allowed onto campus, it will eliminate future shootings. And the reason why I feel like it will eliminate future shootings is because already, if somebody has in their mind that they want to do this, they will know that going onto campus, it will automatically be extremely challenging for them to be successful at this. This is because they know that they're going to have some competition coming onto the campus. They're going to have a stronger force that knows more about what they're trying to do than they do. So this will be shut down. It will scare people out of even having this idea come across their heads. And although it will be more spending that our country will have to do, in the end it will be worth it because more lives will be saved. So this is just some polls that were taken from the public. So the first is why background checks should be done for gun sales, preventing people with mental illnesses from purchasing guns, federal databases to track gun sales, armed security guards, more police in more schools, which is 32 to 64, 64 in favor of it, ban on the semi-automatic weapons, ban on assault-style weapons, ban on high-capacity ammunition clips, ban on online sale of ammunition, and more teaching of school officials with guns in schools. So for almost all of these, the country's more in favor of why we need to, one, either make gun protection a more serious issue, and why it needs to be less accessible for untrained people to get access to, and why there needs to be better security systems throughout the school. So this is a list of the pros and cons as to why this should be viewed. So like any issue, there's going to be cons and there's going to be pros. So some of the pros would be protecting the children. They'd be less at risk if you have trained people there willing to protect them. Parents have to worry less when they go to school, when the kids go to school. We look in terms of future shootings to occur, there's proper security systems, and the campus will be safer. And some of the cons is that it will increase spending, and children will be around guns, which a lot of parents are also uncomfortable with the fact that they just don't want their children to be anywhere near those type of weapons. But in the end, if the proper spending is put in place, the guards will be smart with their weapons and not be careless and not leave it down or, let some child hold on to it. So the spending will go to a good place. So this is just a YouTube clip of what some schools have already done with the use of guns in school for teachers and security.
Well, we're not going to be able to afford that, and the truth of it is what we really cannot afford is a terrible incident.
In tiny Wichita, Texas, the Herald School District is taking a different approach, arming teachers. Students approve.
I like it because it kind of makes me feel safer. Because it's Herald, we don't have a police station here.
Since 2007, the district has allowed teachers with concealed handgun licenses to carry guns in the classroom. A controversial move, but one the superintendent is convinced will prevent a school shooting here.
My goal is if someone comes in to try to hurt my little ones, that they're killed.
And since the nightmare at Sandy Hook, lawmakers across the country are pushing for a similar solution: armed teachers in classrooms.
I wish to God she had had an M4 in her office locked up.
You should be able to carry your handgun anywhere in this state.
At Edison High School in Tulsa, Oklahoma, armed guards patrol the hallways.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Good gang.
The gun, guards say, is necessary to be ready for the unexpected.
We hope that we would never have to use it. I hope I never have to use my gun. But with today being the way they are, I do have it, and it's a resource that we would rely on and would use if we had to keep someone safe.
But Bill Bond.
So as you can see, some schools are taking it to the extreme by having teachers being armed too, which I don't agree with. I think just the security guards should be carrying guns on them because they're the ones that will be the most intimidating if a possible shooter comes on campus, and so the shooting can occur. So eventually, I believe that guns need to be less accessible to untrained people, but in the meantime, I think we need to just increase the spending in the safety of school systems to provide a safe environment for children to go into where they can feel safe, where their parents can feel safe.
Now you said that you feel that teachers shouldn't be allowed to carry guns in schools. Now, just hypothetically, one thing with the security guards is if someone did come in, they know who are the people in the classes that have the weapon in the school. Do you feel that if teachers did carry them, that there'd be kind of an added factor because people that do come in to try to hurt the students wouldn't necessarily know who to be looking out for?
I think that is a very good point. I just think that it's almost unrealistic to get every single teacher to train them on how to use a gun, on how to act in that situation, and I think it's more sensible if you just have the people that this is their job, if this is what they're supposed to do. I agree with you that it's obviously known when you see a guy all in black, looking intimidating with his weapons, that they're the ones that are out to protect you and expect a teacher to also know how to use it. But I think that is something for the future, but I think right now that
mentioned it early on, is that there was a woman who was able to pay an armed guard out of, out of pocket. Do you know if she was allowed to do it? Would you know where that was, by any chance?
I believe it was in Chicago. Florida.
Oh, it's in Florida, okay, which probably, again, is maybe looser in guns than we experience here. Was she, did they have to stay off-site, I guess it was, because they weren't really, sanctioned by the school, do you know?
No, they didn't. They mentioned like some quote about how the guards were there in PE class, and they were just around, or the guard was around wherever the children that the mother, for the
Sort of protection individually following that
exactly.
class, obviously other benefits if something were to happen.
So it was kind of also a temporary thing because it was only for 2 months. But for those 2 months, there was the grandmother quoted, like, I wish I could, do this and get 4 guards and to multiply it to make it even more protection, but it wasn't time.
Interesting. Anybody else?